There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
In the landscape that is high-end car audio, there exists a brand that since its very first foray into the market was at the very highest end of quality. This brand, of course, is Brax, an elite audiophile brand from Germany. And today we get to dive in deep and not only learn about what makes it tick, but we have their founders and current managing director with us as well. We have both Heinz and Julian Fischer in the studio with us. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. Brax, and it starts now. What's going on, guys? And thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and as we plow through the audiophile sessions, we have landed on one of the highest brands our industry has when it comes to fabrication of components and offering many different categories now, although may not have always been many categories, but as we know now, Brax certainly delivers on ultimate high-end bespoke offerings. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper, of course, and actually we're going to go as deep as we can go because Brax has certainly evolved over the years. Today, the modern brand obviously is associated with Fischer. It offers components in DSP amplification, speakers, but for those of us who are a little old school like me and a little, car audio nerdy, we remember Brax from back in the day when we showed up at a car audio competition and there are these weird looking cylinder things attached to sound systems. And we're like, what are these things? And next thing you know, these cars started winning. We started learning, and Brax was definitely everything else from there. Well, we're going to find out about it in explicit detail today. So let's go ahead and connect with our partners at MSC, who are the exclusive North American distributors for all things Audio-Tech Fischer. Let's go to their where do I think they are today? I think they're in Calgary. Well, let's go to their Calgary office. Let's bring in the boys from MSC. We got both Chris Van Rye, the DSP cowboy himself, and Larry Penn. What's going on, fellas? How are you doing today?
Awesome, Ben. How are you?
We do a lot of these during the year, and it's fun talking about, Audio-Tech Fischer and Brax and Helix and all this good stuff. But I kind of look forward to when we get to talk about that, that niche market that we all aspire to own and be a part of. And I feel like Brax is just one of those brands that many of us have grown up aspiring to own.
Yeah, anything that's designed from the ground up to push the boundaries of what's possible is just, it's fun and it's good for everything else around it. It's this is the Formula One of our industry, this brand that we get to hang out with here today. So it's going to be a lot of fun here.
And I mentioned earlier, Larry, that I know, well, that's because I talk car audio every day, but just for the record, Brax has really evolved into a full offering line, and that's really important to the folks at Brax.
Yeah, it is really its own category within Audio-Tech Fischer, and we've got amplification, we have speaker systems, and then the latest foray was into taking our DSP technology that Audio-Tech Fischer is very well known for, and bring it to the level of Brax. And today is going to be a little different, Ben, as far as how we're presenting to you guys.
Oh, really? How so? Are we not doing a slide presentation? Or
where's
the Vanna White product cam?
Yeah, we're not going to do any product cams. We're not going to do any PowerPoints. We're not going to do any graphs or anything. We're just going to get to talk to the people behind the brand And it's important for Chris and I and the rest of the team here at MSC to have the relationship that we do with the people at Audiotech Fischer. And this is not a spreadsheet company, although very well managed and ISO certified and all the rest of it. The heart and soul comes from the man that started it. Well, actually, the family that started it, and we're going to get to meet them and learn about them. So you, as end users that are watching, understand how your product's made, and those of you who are dealers or potential dealers understand the soul behind the company. And we're super excited to have Heinz Fischer and Julian Fischer join us today.
I'll tell you, from a CMA Networks perspective, these are one of these rare occasions where we get to spend some intimate time with the people that are behind the brand, the engineering, the design, the development, and really hear their side of the story. So that's what I'm most excited about. We've had the pleasure of having Julian on before, but this will be Heinz's first appearance on CMA. So we're pretty excited about that. Now, just give me a little bit of a preamble here, Larry. Like, what are we expecting to learn, to hear? Give us a little, be the hype man for Heinz, would you?
I'll be his manager. So Heinz is, it's just an interesting soul. The man has done so much. He's a musician. He's engineering the product. He is the brand ambassador. He is the man that put it all together from a business side. And we're going to learn all about that today. As I say, I want you to understand the feeling of the brand and the soul of the brand more so than specific products and model numbers and price points and specifications.
Amazing. Well, I think the time has come, gentlemen. Let's go direct. That's it. I said it. We're going to go direct to Germany, where we're going to knock on the door of the founder himself of Audiotech Fischer. Let's connect with Mr. Heinz Fischer right now. Is he there? Mr. Heinz, how are you? Welcome to CMA.
Oh, I'm very fine. Thanks for inviting me today.
Oh, it is absolutely our pleasure.
I'll tell a little bit about my story and the company story.
Well, that's what we're hoping for, sir. And I mean, we've had a wonderful time with MSC talking about your products and on training dealers as well as some consumers who tune in to learn about your products. But today, like Larry said, we want to go beyond what's written on the box and on the manual. We want to learn, like Larry said, a little bit of the soul of the company and the story. So obviously, we're happy to have you on. Let's start from the very beginning, Heinz. Can you take some time and tell us about your history, your background, and everything leading up to the formation of what we know today as Audiotech Fischer?
Yeah, I can try to tell a little bit about me and the story behind Brax and the story behind my career at all. Typical, I learned in the beginning of the 70s, I learned radio and television technician here in the small city Schmallenberg. That was at that time I learned tubes for the color TVs and so on to repairing it. And I began very, very early with the electronic. I loved the electronic years before. Years before, when I was young, music was my passion. That is the most important. That means all my power I have up to now, it's to make music, to listen music, and to bring the music to the people in the real way that music have to sound. And when I was young, it was in the, I'm old. It was in the end of the 60s. And 68, 69, my brother, we are 4 kids in the family, in a real poor family. And my mother's girlfriend's man is a guitar maker and a violin maker. And here in this area, I'm really wondering, I often go there, it's something like a garage. And I see them cutting the guitars and everything. And I love also to saw him doing this instrument. And then in 69, my brother, my oldest brother, because I was the youngest in the family, getting the first guitar. And he tried to learn it, but we have no money for a teacher. And then I stole him the guitar a little bit, and I tried by myself. And I learned guitar by myself in the 69 to the beginning of the 70s. All the harmonies, and not the notes at that time, because the harmonies, and that is getting so deep in my soul to bring the music by myself, to listen to music at that time. Of course, the Stones and Santana and the Beatles. That was my favorite, and I love to playing blues up to now. 2 days ago, I've with my band a big Auftritt, big show, and I love it to make music up to now. Yeah, and then when I learned this guitar, I learned a lot of music because I learned everything by myself. There was no internet. There was
There's
nothing.
no YouTube. How did you learn
There
without YouTube?
there was no television. At that time, we have no television. The television, the color television in Germany starts in '67. That's very late. 10 years later, maybe, than in the States. But the whole thing, the whole is getting so deep in my soul to do music and to live music. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Yes.
Yep.
And when I some years later, in the beginning of the '70s, I have the chance, because our village where I live, or where I was born, was only 1,000 citizens. That's nothing. Cannot compare with Vancouver or Calgary. And then we have what is the name? Amateur radio operator, and I learned by myself not only the Morse.
Morse code.
Yeah,
Morse
I
code,
learned
okay.
up to now. I cannot do it. The Heinz is did it da da did it. That is
Very good.
Da
Very
is
good.
long and did is short. And this is also my passion. And then I go bring in I love to do the electronic by myself, because all the amateur radio operators, the maximum was some milliwatts you can send to the air. But frankly speaking, the most of them doing this Sender, I don't know, they bring the power to the air much higher. And then you have to build up the first tube amplifiers and so on. And then what my decision to learn the radio television technician. That was the start. And it's a typical way after trainee at the radio television, 3.5 years. I go to the high school, a special high school, a technical high school, and then to a university. And in the 1980, I saw my friend Thomas Fischer. It's not family, it's the Thomas Fischer. I saw him again, and we start the Fischer and Fischer company to build up the high-end speakers. We are in Schmallenberg. We have the ground here is slate. It's a very strong stone, the black stone, maybe you'll see, with a lot of slices. It's different from marmor or something. And we built up the first speakers cabinets with the slate. Up to now,
cabinets.
With the slate cabinets. Yeah, also I can show you behind me. Also, this small one here is out from slate, because there was no resonance. You have also maybe pool billiard, the ground, the high-end pool billiard. There's no reflection. Okay. It's also slate, made from slate. It's expensive, but it's for speakers. It's a wonderful material to build up speakers. You want to listen to the speaker, not to the cabinet. That was my philosophy at that time. And also at that time, I start a lot of electronics. I'm working with some other companies together. I learned, maybe you know Dieter Burmeister. It's a very high-end company.
Yes,
in Germany.
of course.
Yes, that was my friend since '81, because in '81, with the Fischer and Fischer company, we had our first booth at the Berlin show, built by myself from wood and everything, 8 to 3 square meter. And then also Dieter Burmeister, he plays guitar, and we're sitting on the top of a building and playing guitar in '81. It was booth bubbles up to now.
Wow.
And then we are very close together. And in this '80s, in the Fischer and Fischer company, I'm doing a lot of things also for other companies like Audiophile or Restec or some other things. And to make it short, the Fischer and Fischer, I stopped '89 because of difference between my partner. It's not we are friends up to now. But for business, I have to take the decision. My wife, Gudrun, works at a company who are doing the international business with General Motors. She often go to US. Her English is perfect. Sorry for
Yours
my.
is very good, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Very
And
good.
then we sit together and said, let's do also home audio. That's nothing to do with car audio. We are sitting together, and I said to Gordon, stop your business. I stop my business at the Fischer, and let's start with a new company. And that was the birth of the Audiotech Fischer company in 1990. And the wall get down here in Germany, and there was a lot of things to do. It's very hard to find the right rooms, building to do the home audio. But all in all, at that time, because here in Germany, a lot of people know me. Yeah, Heinz Fischer in the home audio and also in the car audio. A lot of people know me, and at that time, the car audio business starts very strong here in Germany. End of the 80s, beginning of the 90s was really like a boom. And some friends asked me, can you do also high end for me in my car because it sounds terrible and blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, I can do, but with 12 volt, there is really not really a chance because the power is a voltage like a current. It's very easy. It's a simple physics. And if you have 110 volt, you need maybe 1 ampere times square, for 100 watt. And
Right.
if you have 20 volt, you need 1 ampere. But for 12 volt, you need for 100 watt, maybe 8 ampere or something like that. And that is totally different. And that is also the input power. And then if you see the efficiency of all the amplifiers, you can double the current. That means to really listen the high-end music, you need more than a battery. The battery with a fuse, with a long cables, 5 meters, something like that. The sound could not be good. And depends on energy source resistance. That was my favorite. When in 85, I built up a first amplifier with 1 farad at 100 volts. It was 1 square meter for an active speaker line. Maybe you can, Larry, you know the photo, and it's really 1 square meter, and with 6 amplifiers inside, with at that time Dyne Audio drivers and so on. And I remember you have to need a low energy source resistance. Also a plug-in in the wall there is an energy source resistance. That means if the way is too long from the transformer to your house, maybe it's not 110, maybe it's 105 volts or maybe 98 volts. And if you get a lot of power outside, then it drops down to 80 volts, whatever. And same is in Germany, and same is with the battery. And my idea was when the friends and the guys came to me, I said, you have to reduce, because 12 volt is 12 volt. You cannot bring in to 220 volt, but you have to reduce energy source resistance. And that is so simple, but genius, to put 2 energy source resistance parallel. If you have 2 energy, or if you have 2 resistance parallel, the lowest resistance is lower than the lowest parallel connected resistor. That is so easy. And that there's no function with 100 microfarad, but with a big capacitor. The capacitor, the internal resistance is lower than 0.1 milliohm. And my friend, the Peter Fischer, was the owner of the Fischer and Tausche company. It's the biggest capacitor company in Europe.
Oh,
and,
how convenient.
With him, as my friend up to now. It's also Fischer, but it's not family.
Not family. Got it.
Yeah, we have a lot of Fischers in
There's
Germany.
a lot of repetition there.
A lot of Fischers in Germany. And with him together, I say, because the home, for home audio, the power supply is only in Germany 50, that means double 100 hertz, or 60, 120 hertz. And so most of the capacitors are built for this lowest resistance, because the internal resistance, or Z, is not only the resistance as in resistance, it's also a coil It's a lot of things were working in this capacitors. And we built a capacitor, a big capacitor, at least in the final 1 farad and then 2 farad, with a lot of contacts to destroy this L, the coil. That means our capacitors works also with higher frequencies, like 30 kilohertz, 40 kilohertz, or up to 100 kilohertz. That was the idea behind. I put it. Peter produced me some capacitors, the big one. I put it to my friend's cars, and they say, "Wow, yeah, you are."
Imagine.
It's really
sound,
imagine. And also for me to compare with and without. But to bring it to the people was really hard, because you can, if you connect these capacitors up to now, when I saw some show cars, there was an amplifier, there was a nice capacitor. It's really bullshit. You have to connect it direct to the plus and minus at the amplifier. If possible, 5 or 10 centimeter wire. That is very important.
Close to the amplifier.
Close to the, otherwise it makes no sense. And all these things. And I saw this car audio mark, and some friends, also friends, came to me. Listen, my car, can I have a capacitor? I say, buy it wherever you want. I said, you cannot buy a capacitor. And also it's also a little bit dangerous, because if you disconnect the capacitor, it could be like something like a bomb. Yeah?
Wow.
And,
okay.
Yeah, of course. If you connect it and the ventile is not open, it's really explosion. You can lose your hand maybe.
Oh my goodness.
And then saying, let's make a product out of it. We are at the beginning of 1990 when I started this company with Gudrun. It was only home audio, because that was my passion and I love it. And I've up to now 5,500 CD records at home, and we are listening music. That's our passion and our soul. And then I say, okay, let's make a product. And then I think, this function Sicherheit, with a function about disconnecting, with charging safely, and all these things. Maybe you know what I mean. And then I say, okay, let's try. And I said to my wife Gudrun, because we are doing this together at that time, that maybe let's make a product out of this. The product needed also a name. And the name was very easy. Brax now is worldwide well known, but it was so easy. We drink a bottle of wine, and then I said, because before, in the end of 80s, I had a 2-channel amplifier for the active speaker I developed, and I want to call it, because for the regional market, I want to call it a Braxis, the second record from Santana. Yeah, with the Black Magic Woman.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
I love the album cover of that. It's just beautiful artwork on that cover.
It's the best Santana record I have at home. And then my wife said, we cannot call it a Braxis. Let's make the middle part, and it was a Brax. That's all.
So the name Brax came from Santana's album that you didn't want to copy. You just cut the name down.
Nothing behind the records of Santana and a bottle of wine. That's
amazing. Amazing. That was worth it right there. That story right there. We could stop the show.
And we're off.
Yeah.
Marketing could be very easy if you drink the right wine.
If I may, so I mean, the story's incredible. Obviously, your passion for sound, for music, has taken you through many different avenues, from TV, radio, to partnering for home audio products, all the way up until some friends decided to bother you to help improve their car stereo system. That led to reconnecting with your previous partner to develop a new product that was named after a glass of wine and the Santana album, which is now Brax.
The middle part of it.
Yeah, so now we're in the 1990s. This led to a new era. Now, all of a sudden, you're gaining momentum, you're gaining followership. The brand Brax is starting to be known in car audio. What happens next?
Yeah, what happens next? I listen to a lot of cars. I listen the speakers and noise machines. Let not say amplifier in that case. Some of these machines are really noise machines, and I say, oh, the car audio business that needs the high end thinking, that needs the music, that the passion of music. When I'm sit in my car, I want to listen. I want to no. It's a Bösendorf piano. It's a Steinway piano. It's a Peter Graybeard is a Bösendorf, and the Steinway is Keith Jarrett or whatever. I direct want to listen it, and not to think, is this a piano or what is it? Yeah?
Right,
And
right.
then I take the decision in 92 or 91, 92 to bring this high-end, my feeling, high-end audio to car audio, because I cannot find any amplifier, any speaker, nothing was really has to do with high-end. Now more companies concentrate, and a lot of companies say, our high-end, blah, blah, blah. It's okay. It changed a lot when I started. And I think to myself, okay, amplifier for home, well, it's for me more easy. And but for the switching power supply and everything, I want to do simply the best amplifier in the world. And for car audio, then we changed in 92 to the car audio business. 92, 93, we stopped home audio because the power stabilizer I start, the first 1,000 pieces are sold in less than 1 day, I think. And it was really successful. We have a very nice report in a magazine here, and it was really sold out overnight. And then we start a very good business only with a capacitor. We have different capacitor. The first capacitor was in plastic box, and we have the IPC and so on. It's also a story behind. Mm-hmm. But then I say we have to do speakers. We have to bring the real music in the car. And in the car, sit in the car is different to sit in front of speakers at home, in a room. Okay, you have also interferences, whatever. But in a car, you are sitting in the box.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, something like that. More interferences, and you can. Yeah, it's a
with
horror.
speaker position next to your knees and glass windshield and everything else.
And then for me, it was important at first to have the best amplifier, stable amplifier, power, a dynamic, high damping factor to control the speakers in the car and so on. And I think, really more than 3 years. I have no competition amplifier, never on my desk. I never bought a whatever brand. Open it and look inside. We have, at the first moment, from the beginning to 1996, I developed my own switching power supplies, my own drivers, my own output stage. That's why our drivers also in the Brax amplifiers are very, very special. That's why we also have to select the output transistors, and not only the output transistors, also switching power supplies, the transistors. I can show you, Gary knows it, what we are doing here. Thousands and tens or 100,000 transistors we are selecting one by one. Every selection is 10 to 15 seconds. And that means it's a lot of time we bring in. But if you maybe change only the transistor in the output stage, interrectifier and whatever, 5 ohm, then it will burn direct again. That means it's like a 12-valve motor. It must be adjusted very, very perfectly. And the result, to make it short, was we have a new switching power supply with very special core material. We find here it's a Siemens daughter. It's a big company. It's a Vakuumschmelze here in near Frankfurt. And they have a core material. You can also, if you look to the internet, Vakuumschmelze, they bring it from 1,200 degrees Celsius in less than 20 milliseconds to 400 degrees. They reduce in 20 milliseconds, 800 degrees. And this is so efficiency. I have one here, I can show you. You cannot see the core material, but you can see this transformer. This small transformer is 1,500 watts, and you see a lot of things here. You see the wires that produce here 50, 70 kilometers from here. It's high temperature wires. The core material is so efficiency that up to now, or my first Brax amplifier, I have only two 2 windings primary and 2 times 7 windings secondary. And we have a total output power of 1,500 watts RMS with this small thing. High efficiency core material, high temperature. That we shield it directly with an aluminium. We have to bring the heat outside. That means we need a special glue here inside that is not shrinking and not turn off. And there's a lot of things. That means if the vacuum schmelze, if you see the aluminium housing, and if you see to make it chrome was 70 kilometers from here. The aluminium is the same company with my friend Peter Fischer, the capacitor company, who are doing all the millions of aluminium parts for the capacitors. And that means we are working very strong together. And totally 7 companies are working only for this transformer. And it's
all local too, all local companies.
All local. It's Fischer and Tausch, it's in the north, but the most are very local here, up to 70 kilometers. We have totally, for the Brax production and also for the Helix production, we have totally more than 50 to 60 suppliers here in Germany who are working some parts for us.
That part you're holding right there, Heinz, is that specific to Brax amplifiers only, or does that also being used in Helix?
It's not only Brax amplifier. Brax means 100% made in Germany. Of course, some electronic parts are made wherever. Also in the US, we are using a lot of US parts as an interrectifier, and also up to now, Texas Instruments.
Sure.
Maybe Julian knows it better for the new product than me. But the Brax philosophy is also 100% made in Germany. And that is why we also start in 97, when we are growing very fast. In 97, we start this Helix brand. The only reason was to make the Brax products clean, made in Germany. And for Helix, the Helix amplifiers are also 100% made in Germany. But we decide that we have some speakers maybe made in Asia, whatever. But this was the only reason to find the second brand. And also the second brand, the Helix brand, is also very easy. I start also in the mid of 80s with dynamic damping for speakers. You know this one is static damping.
This is under the Helix brand?
The spikes
Okay.
you put down. And I have a spring 40 millimeters, 2 centimeters rubber, and bring it under the speakers up to 100 kilo or whatever. And then you have the resonance, the dynamic resonance damper. That means if there is a wooden floor or something. And this depends on the spring. It's like the DNS I called Helix. That was the brand.
That's where the Helix came from the DNA. Okay, because it was like a coil.
When I need a new brand in
but no wine. There was no wine involved in this one. Was there any wine involved with Helix?
It was for the home audio here in Germany. It was famous, the Helix damper, Helix damper, dynamic damper. But when I'm looking after Brax and after the bottle, and we are looking for a new brand, and I said we have some brands from the past, from the home audio. Let's take the Helix brand again, because I stopped these Helix dampers in also beginning 1991, I think. I stopped it, and then we take this brand. And our guitar player in my band, up to now, I played with him 2 days ago. He was the creator of the Brax and also the Helix design. That means it's also very familiar and very friendly. We don't need marketing experts, whatever. We are doing it.
So your marketing division and your creative art director was your buddy who plays guitar with you in your band.
Yeah, he's playing.
I love it.
It's everything is so close.
I love that,
including my family and now Julian
and now your son. We're going to get to Julian in a second. I just want to recap this last part of the story. So, from the moment that the capacitors were getting popular, you turned to amplification as your first instinct to start building product. And just to be clear, you never looked at competitors' amplifiers at that time for their design. So your design stemmed from your knowledge of electronics, but also your experience in home electronics as well. And you came up with your own method of placing everything to make a Brax level amplifier. There was no influence from outside.
If you compare maybe a Brax amplifier, Helix amplifier, also the design, I love it. The eye listen with, yeah, you understand. If you see a high-end product or Dieter Burmeister from the output, this is chrome, everything. And if I have a high-end product and a really good sounding projector and product and speakers, I think I have to also to concentrate that it's a very nice looking. That means if you
very
see
much very aesthetic
inside our amplifiers, inside our DSPs, and if the whole product line, if you look like this, it's, sorry to say it, but it looks very, very nice.
It does. Don't apologize. Please don't apologize. They are beautiful. And,
and
those are the components that you were talking about, right, Heinz, that are all made locally, the big...
Yeah. Also the capacitors, everything is made in Germany.
Wow.
And maybe some transistor, of course, but this is 100% made in Germany.
Even the chassis, is the chassis extruded in Germany as well?
It's also made, don't laugh, by Fischer Electronic Lüdenscheid.
Another Fischer. Okay.
It's still 70 kilometers far away. You can visit me. I will invite you. I can show you all these things.
Interesting. So it truly is a Fischer product. There's no doubt about that.
So popular in the name Fischer is not so popular in Germany, but all these companies, sorry to say, is named Fischer.
Fair enough. We think you just own everything, but you don't want people to know. So that's why you come up with these stories. Larry, I'm going to give you an opportunity, or even Chris, to chime in on any key highlights that we might have overlooked or that you might want to add to this brilliant story that Heinz has shared with us.
Yeah, I think it's always fun to listen to Heinz talk and tell the story and the progression, because it's so relevant to a lot of us in this industry, where we got into it because we just loved music. That's where this whole thing started for all of us. And in a roundabout way, we all kind of find our way to where we land today. And Heinz and the Fischer family and everything they've accomplished is just a true testament to passion, their absolute desire to build the best products possible. And when I hear Heinz talk about how it wasn't about referencing what somebody else was doing, he just wanted to do the best that he could ever think up. And every time he'd think up something else, he would find a way to push it to the next level yet again. And here we are, 30 years later, since this whole journey for the Fischer family kicked off, with some of the industry's most absolutely over-the-top respected products, the most capable equipment available today. So it's always fun to see how it starts, but to sit here with the GX amplifier and see where it's landed now, it's just incredible.
I will want to comment on something that Heinz closed with, and that is the fact that it was mandated that the Brax brand means made in Germany. I think that's a very important message to convey, because if I take a step back and I take a look at the products that we have in our industry, that like Heinz has mentioned, there's many nowadays more option in higher end products than ever before, really. But there is a value. I'll speak for myself. There is a value for domestically made product that's been engineered, designed, and executed in their country of origin, whether it's Europe or North America. For me, there's a value to that. And as an audiophile or as a sound gear enthusiast, I'm not an audiophile. I love gear. Okay, I'm a gear nerd. There is an inherent value to that, whether in home audio, car audio, or whatever the situation may be. There's value to that. So I want to commend Brax for maintaining, that tradition and that standard, and bringing that to our industry.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to represent the company here in North America, Ben, because their core values within the company, in the product, is also the core values in their business. And it's been a pleasure. I think we're into year number 5, or getting close to year number 5, with our relationship with Audiotech Fischer, and it's been just a pleasure because of that same philosophy that we have of just doing the right things, the best things, and not necessarily worrying about what the other guys are doing.
Well, I think this is a great point in time to bring in our other guest. I believe, Heinz, he's not sitting too far from you. Maybe we can bring in someone you're familiar with. His name is Julian Fischer. He's been on with us before. He is the managing director currently for Audiotech Fischer. So, Julian, would you mind squeezing in next to Heinz, please?
The analog and the digital guy.
Oh, the analog and the digital, the yin and the yang. Oh, look, they're even wearing black and white on top of that.
Black and white. I'm the good one.
You're the angel. You're the angel, we'll say. How's that? Welcome, Julian. Good to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you.
Your dad has told us a brilliant story of where the brand comes from, the history, the lineage leading up to pretty much the late 1990s. Let's fast forward to the partnership now where Audiotech Fischer and MSC now join forces to embark into conquering the North American territory. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Julian?
Yeah, for sure. Bringing these high-end products to specific markets is always a quite complex thing because we need to transfer a lot of technology, philosophy, feelings, passion to the markets to be able to deliver our products. And with MSC, we found the right partner who understand our passion, our philosophy, and all the details you need to know to sell and support these kind of products. As you know, Brax products are extremely complicated and uncompromisingly down to every detail. So, and the customer wants to get this experience. So when you buy a Brax product, it's not just buying any kind of product, it's like a real experience. And with MSC, we found exactly the right partner to bring this experience directly to the end customer. They do a great job of training all our dealers, our dealer base, and get them involved into our technology and passion to really provide everything as perfect as possible.
Okay. I have Heinz in front of me, so I want to ask some very specific question, Heinz, and maybe Julian, you can chime in here. I want to hear in your words why you feel Brax is truly audiophile grade equipment. Let's get away from the made in Germany. We had that story. Let's talk about the gear now, the technology. Why is it truly audiophile grade? What are some of the reasons, technically, engineering wise, that make it so?
I think Brax, if you see the whole technique behind reproduction music, if you want to reproduce maybe Mr. Segovia in the guitar or whatever, you have to play a guitar, you have to move a string, not paper or whatever. If some people told me this amplifier sounds very warm, amplifiers had not to sound. They have to bring the power to the speaker. The speaker have to sound. As I told you before, also the cabinet has not to sound. That's why I'm using slate in the beginning or end of the 70s, and also on. And I think this the total philosophy. If we think about a product, maybe like this, a speaker like this, we are thinking about so many things. What can we do to bring it to perfection? It's not only the frequency range, it's the damping, and also is maybe the Brax or also a Helix amplifier, the very high damping factor. The damping factor means to control the speakers and all these things. And there is so many things to do because you have to decide if I make this better, maybe some parameters are worse than before. The same as speaker. If you have one speaker for all the frequencies would be the optimum, but you cannot have it because it depends on Doppler effects and something. You have to bring it to two-way, three-way, or four-way system. We concentrate more on two-way system, also in home audio, last not least, to make the physics more in the right way. The absolutely right way you cannot bring, as I told you, if you have to listen the pure guitar, you have to move strings and no paper. But the human ear is bad enough to hear is 99% maybe the original. If I listen music at home, close my eyes and see the stage and everything, then I feel, oh, this is the music, because I have a lot of records where I know in a classic way, where I listen this the people before in the live, in the live stage, and that is what we want to reproduce. It's a real music. It's not the total power. It's not whatever. It must be the real music. It must beat your. It must get in your soul.
100%. So in a
that is the
previous,
target, and for this we bring a lot of new technologies in the market, not only in amplifier and DSPs, but for the new generation, the digital things. When we started with the digital in the end of, I think it was in 2017, 18, short before Julian came in the company, 2007, 8, sorry, before Julian came in the company, I tried with some digital amplifiers, also with DSP. I get ear cancer, really. Really, it sounds like really terrible. And I say, never we bring one product. When I listen it, me and my wife Gudrun, we have our musician room at home. It's something like home cinema, some guitars inside and a piano and whatever, doing some live sessions with my friends. But we can also listen with a big window to our garden, listen to music and live the music. And every amplifier, also the digital amplifier, Julian has to bring to my home. And then Gudrun and I decide go to the market or not.
Damn.
Speakers. And that's
intimidating. Okay.
Because I cannot.
You had a rough childhood, Julian. I feel bad for you. That's pretty
It's
rough.
a tough job.
That's a tough job. My God, some of us just have to show a report card that we pass. You have to audition your new amplifier to your parents, of all things. Jeez.
And before my get like this takes a long time.
No kidding. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. I want to back up on 1 second. In a previous session, Heinz, I had Julian on with Larry and Chris, and we talked about something that was very important to amplifier design for Brax, and that is the transformer technology. I heard what Julian had to say. I want to hear what you have to say, why it's so important, the technology and the engineering that you have in your power transformer.
Ja. Warum die gesamte
Sorry?
Technologie so ausschlaggebend ist für die Qualität. Gesamtkonzept.
Yeah, I think if you will do the highest level, that means the really high end, you have to use the best things, you have to be the best product in the world, you have to find the best product in the world. You cannot read, oh, this is the best core material, this is the best wire, this is the best something. You have really to check. Here in Germany, we have a lot of companies who are doing really, really, really good things. And we are also very strong. And that is why we are looking for everything, for speakers and also for amplifiers, for DSPs, for the right material, of course. Yeah, like I show you this transformer.
Most of development time goes into optimizing the small details. It's not like the development, maybe 80% of the time is just the last part where you fine-tune the product, where you're really optimizing not big steps, but all the small details to really achieve a product or to develop a product which is as perfect as possible. And
I'm just amazed that we can have a half-hour conversation on the transformer alone. That is amazing in itself. Okay, I'm looking at the time. Let's fast forward a little bit, because Brax is not only known for electronic products anymore. Yes, we're going to get to DSP, Julian. Don't worry. But before we get to DSP, the Brax speakers are of the highest. I mean, we've already seen them. We're going to talk about them right now. Heinz, tell us a little bit about the philosophy for developing speakers, maybe something to do with a Dr. Kirk Mueller relationship you might want to mention.
Yeah, when we start also in the beginning of the 90s, we are thinking about the speakers, Brax speakers, and also we start with the Helix speakers. We have a nice company here in Germany, in the south of Germany. We're doing really high-end speakers for home and also now for car audio. And we discuss a lot of things with them because to find the right volume, to find the right neodymium. If you see, for example, this you see we are the first one who have these holes in the neodymium to have the housing behind, to have the deep resonance frequencies. We are using sheep wool washed.
Sorry, what did you say? Did you say sheep's wool?
Yeah.
Sheep.
Yes.
The
You're putting the wool into the speaker. Okay, I was just making sure I heard that right.
and you have to wash them before. It's really stinky.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay.
We don't want to bring stinky speakers in the market.
But why sheep's wool of all material? Why did you select sheep's wool?
Because you have the very high damping inside, and also the sonic the sonic getting lower inside the volume. That's why you use it also in the speaker cabinet. It's not only for the damping, also this is for the tweeter. It makes no big changes, but in the big speakers, if you have the cheap wool, you reduce the sonic. Is that the right word? Yeah, and that means you get a little bit bigger volume.
Okay. Now, what is the difference between the matrix and the graphic series?
It's some parts. It's for the matrix. I decide to bring it also very, very beautiful, maybe with stainless steel. It's a full housing of stainless steel. We are selecting with a matrix every speaker here in-house, bring it together as a pair, and so on. Also with matrix, with a graphic, but this is a little bit more high-end in my thing. And also,
which one is more high-end? Graphic is more high-end?
The matrix is
more high-end
product.
Okay.
Yeah. It is the best we have. Yeah.
And I'm going to assume all made in Germany.
Yeah, that's all made in Germany. Also with the Dr. Kurt Müller, the cone material. It's a very old company. I think it's more than 100 years old, Dr. Kurt Müller. And at the moment, Mr. Dr. Ringfile is CEO, and he often visits us, and we are talking about cone material.
But he's not a Fischer.
No, it's not a Fischer.
Not a Fischer. Okay, just to be sure. I wasn't sure.
It's Dr. Ringfile. It's the Dr. Kurt Müller company. They are producing really for every high-end company. For we don't say names, but they are producing for really, really, really high-end companies.
Okay.
And you can discuss with them what kind of material experience with CSAL, with they are doing. And if you see how they produce, it looks a little bit like 1881 or something, but very old. But the result or the the result is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's really one by one.
I mean,
and also with the company in the south of Germany, the speaker. We are working with this company since 1997. Since 1997.
Wow.
We are working with them 25 years now. Together.
Larry, I want you to chime in.
Developed a lot of things. This is the newest one. Larry show you.
Yeah, this is jewelry right here.
Is that the one with the ring on the back with the cross etched?
No, that's the GL2.
Okay.
So what you're speaking of,
that's the Manjuli one.
Ring.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah, the mounting ring on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a serious tweeter.
Focus.
Like obviously a big tweeter.
Every part here, it's a matrix. Every screw and every connector is really handmade here.
What do you mean? The screws are machined for this housing? Did you just say the screws are made for the housing? These are not.
Also, this one. This connector here is drilled by a machine here, and it's not far away from here, and gold plated also 70 kilometers from here, because we are sitting in the middle of the forest. Schmallenberg is very countryside, and if you see also this part, this is only metrics to destroy the standing waves. It is this.
Right.
Sorry, this one. Yeah. This is
Oh yeah, that little part in the middle. Yep.
Something like a phase plug inside to destroy.
Internal phase plug.
And, yeah, and there's a lot of things to bring everything together. It's a lot of things. Everything is constructed by us and then produced in the south of Germany. It takes a long time and a lot of experience for listening, and it takes a long time for me and
Larry,
my wife to get the okay.
From the approval from mom and dad. Got it. Larry, I want you to chime in here, because obviously when it comes to this type of grade product, there's a price tag that comes with it, but there's also a pride of ownership that comes with it. Talk to us a little bit about finish, even the boxing, like the whole thing. What is a consumer to expect when owning a Brax grade product?
Well, part of owning any product, I feel, when I buy something that is about pride of ownership, it's the presentation of the material. You look at a Rolex watch, or you take delivery of a new car. It's that feeling, that pride of ownership. And the camera may be hard to see here, but if you look at the grain, you see how that grain from the side to the front, well, it's backwards on the camera here. The grain is matched, and this is the box that every Brax product comes in. When you open up the box, oh. This is the box for the tweeters, so everything's in there. Again, just a beautiful presentation. And then you get the certificate of ownership that Chris is showing there.
So these are hand signed.
Yeah.
So,
With blue ink to make a point. Mm-hmm.
But so you've actually got the team at the factory signing off on your new product that this meets the standard of the people that have designed it right out of the gate.
No doubt about it. Everything is there. Check, which leaves us one more thing before we move over to Julian's specialty, and that is the warranty. What is the warranty on this product, Larry?
You buy a Brax electronics piece, and that is warranted for life. And not only is it warranted for life, but these guys have made improvements to the product along the way. So if it comes in for service, they do the upgrades to the product to make sure it is at the top reference level of everything they have designed. And
Hold on, stop. Time out. So I buy a DSP from 5 years ago, and all of a sudden Julian gets tricky and decides to upgrade the whatever DSP chip on, or whatever it may be that he's upgraded, or output stage or whatever. I will send it in and they will upgrade my unit for me.
If it's in the service department, they're going to take care of you, Ben. That's the number one thing to know. And we were in the area, and one of the main things here is all this Brax electronics that you see, the final assembly is done by one man, and that one man has been there since the very beginning. So it's very, very cool when we go into the little area of what is Audiotech Fischer, into the Brax assembly room, and we see this one man creating the product, and then Heinz signing off on the owner's certificate. That to me is the pride of ownership right there.
I picture Heinz in his music room sipping on a glass of wine with a stack of sheets that he just signs every day, and this is his job every day. This is what he does.
I'm retired, but this is one of the main things I have to do.
Okay, lifetime warranty. That is definitely a level up. I'm sorry, but when I buy a Lamborghini or a Rolex, they don't give me a lifetime warranty. Just saying.
I believe in my products.
I see that, sir. I appreciate that.
So one of the other cool things, Ben, on that topic is, for me, seeing the hand signed signatures is that testament to that they believe when this product leaves the factory that you are going to get exactly what that represents. But one of the things not many people know is that every single made in Germany product actually goes through extensive testing before it gets put in the package. So when these guys go through and develop a product, they're going to go through and measure every single portion of it. And as a result of their ISO certification, there's actually full records of all of this stuff. So when we go back and look at a GX or an MX4 Pro amplifier, we can actually look at what did it generate for power, what was its signal noise ratios, what was the distortion, what was all the way through. So when you're getting something, it's not just that, you know what, it's built, it looks pretty, it fits in the box, we're good enough today. There's a lot that this company puts into to making sure that when that signature is there, it is a serious representation of the piece that you've just added to your collection.
Amazing. Imagine that, actually testing their gear before putting it in a box. What a concept.
Every single one.
What a concept. Julian, we're down to our last point, our last discussion point, and that is, of course, we cannot talk about Brax and not talk about DSP. It is regarded as one of the highest, if not the highest end DSP on the planet. I know that you spearheaded this project, and I see that Heinz is very easy to pass the torch to you on this conversation. Let's talk about that. What was the driving force to bring DSP to the Brax offering, Julian?
Yeah, when we launched our DSP lineup in 2010, there came quite early after our two first DSP models the request if we can do something under the Brax line. And in 2012, we developed the first Brax DSP in our R&D department and put everything in it what we could thought of. And then we finished the development, but at that time, the components, the performances, the technology was not just good enough to pass the our philosophy and quality requirements. So I showed the first development of the Brax DSP to Heinz, and it was already a phenomenal good DSP for that time. But he said, no, this is definitely not at the level where we need to be for Brax. So we brought out an Helix C DSP, which is kind of a little Brax DSP, but not under the Brax brand. And then it took us another 3 years to figure out the concept of what we need to do to really build a Brax product that it fits into our philosophy, thinking, and
what were some of the challenges, Julian, that you had to hit? Like, what are some of the targets?
At that time, we wanted to build a DSP which achieves the same electrical parameters as the amplifier. But as our amplifier standards, like signal to noise ratio of over 120 dB and THD of over 100 dB. So we had some electrical requirements we definitely want to hit, because the DSP is in the line between the signal source and the amplifier, and the DSP should not be the part which reduces sound quality. So the goal was to at least build a DSP which can handle or can deliver the same signal quality which our amplifiers need to get. So
and be 100% made in Germany. That must have been another requirement.
Right. And then we were looking quite a long time for the right components, but the market just did not have the right components to do it. And then in 2016, we started again because we, as we are development partner for analog devices and AKM, we got an early access on a new DSP chipset as well as on new AD and DA converters, which looked very promising on the data sheet, but then we started to develop a product around it. And when we then built the product, we figured out that we need also on the software side to go to the absolute limit. So instead of having a sample rate of 48 kilohertz, which was typical in 2015, 2016, or 96 kilohertz, which is typical today, we wanted to build a DSP with a native sampling rate of 192 kilohertz and a full 32-bit signal depth.
What year was this that you were setting this benchmark at?
Yeah, this was in the home audio and in the high-res audio market, just the latest or highest standard
Back
which
then.
was
Mhm.
available.
Mhm.
And for sure, our Brax DSP should not only deliver a great signal to the amplifier, but it should also accept the highest quality audio files in the market. So we needed to build a DSP with a sampling rate of 192 kilohertz.
Mhm.
But the big disadvantage of a high sampling rate is that it costs a tremendous amount of DSP processing. So with each doubling of the sampling rate, you lose half of the processing power. So you can process a signal at 48 kilohertz, and if you want to go up to 96 kilohertz, you might need to have 2 DSP chips instead of 1. And with the Brax DSP, we were even doubling it again from 96 kilohertz to 192 kilohertz, needing even more DSP chipsets.
So like 4 chips minimum on that math.
4 chips, or in this case, we got an access from analog devices to a higher performance DSP chipset. So we built a system which consists out of 3 DSP chipsets, which was absolutely new. So the software needed to be completely redone, the communication. And then we built the first Brax DSP, which meet the performance and the requirements which we were looking for, and the result was already phenomenal. But then we came up and had the idea to build it modular, because the first Brax DSP was just one big board where all inputs and outputs and everything were soldered on one board. But as we already had the MX4 amplifier at that time, which had digital inputs, we wanted to give the customer the option to decide if he wants to get the signal to the amplifier in an analog domain or in the digital signal domain. So we were looking for a concept where the customer could choose what outputs he wants to have. So we built a full modular-based DSP. And as we have a similar situation on the input side as well, we thought that we built a DSP which looks like a personal computer. So we have a main board, and we have input cards and output cards. And so in this case, we had the opportunity to build a full modular DSP concept where you can plug in any input module you want to have. So if you have, for example, an MOS converter instead of a typical aftermarket head unit in your car, you might need to have more optical or more digital inputs and less analog inputs. But on the same side, you might have an aftermarket head unit with 6 RCA outputs or even high-level outputs, and we need to be able to accept this signal as well. So we built an DSP which has 4 input modules, 6 output modules, so a 10-channel and 12-channel DSP with an 8-channel input, and all should be flexible and module-based.
I'm going to stop you there, Julian, because there's 3 points I want to bring up. Number 1, Heinz, I want you to go back to that time that Julian finally got the software to get. First of all, I can just imagine his look on his face when you said, but we have to develop software as well. He was probably very surprised. But I want to go back to that point in time, Heinz, where you sat down in a vehicle and listened to your Brax amplifier and speakers, but now with DSP. What was that like?
Amazing. Really, frankly speaking, I'm very, very critical with the digital sound because my analog sound something like the Hubraum, what is that? Something. If I have my analog, all informations are in my waves, and for digital, you know what I mean. And I'm very critical, but also before the Helix DSPs. Frankly speaking, me and my wife love it now because the music, the soul beating my heart, it's everything is fine. And I'm really proud that my son has finalized this in the thinking I have in my head. I'm
Amazing, amazing.
really, it's amazing. I
This
don't find the right words in English. Sorry.
That's okay. I can see it in your enthusiasm for
Yeah.
sure. I get
Okay.
it. And obviously, now to Julian, this modular concept is very interesting because we've talked about this before. To order one of these Brax DSPs, it is a custom order because this is kind of a bespoke experience in which you are building the DSP processor to what the customer wants based on their system. So, Larry, you brought that up. Maybe you can speak to that a bit, Larry?
Yeah, so when we have a dealer ordering a Brax DSP, we fill out this order sheet with him. So all of your inputs and outputs are designed as digital or analog, same on the output side. And then you can choose what HEC cards you want in there right here, whether you want the Bluetooth HEC card or USB HEC card involved. And then once it is produced, you can see right on the bottom there, that is filled out by the factory where a serial number is assigned. And this is my own personal DSP waiting for the install, which we will debut at Master Tech Expo coming in March in Phoenix. So this is actually my build sheet, and the fine folks at Germany put it all together, and here we are waiting to get it in.
Amazing. Did he get any preferred service? Like, did he get front of line, or did you
Yeah.
make Larry wait like everybody else? That's what I want to know.
Heinz and Julian jumped on their private jet and
Oh, and
landed
they
in
flew
our
it over to you,
parking lot.
gave it to you, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
With
fair
a
enough.
boat.
Personal delivery.
They rode the boat across.
Analog.
Analog, exactly. Okay, Julian, two more quick points, and then we'll close it out. You mentioned a partnership with 8KM, which is the Velvet Sound. And, guys, we're referring to this DSP training. Go back and look on CMA Networks for this episode that we did with Julian, where we only specifically spoke about DSP. The two things I wanted to mention here was, one thing that we missed on the last conversation was the fact that you had to actually upgrade your testing device to be able to spec out this new processing chip and this new build and design that you had in your DSPs. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Julian?
Yeah, so when we finished the development of the Brax DSP, or when we were nearly finished, we came to a point where we achieved a signal quality with the Brax DSP, which was just higher than our audio precision measurement devices. In total, we have 6 audio precision measurement units here in our company for production testing and development, but we came to a point where the typical audio precision quality limits, signal quality limits, were not enough to measure the Brax DSP. So instead of guessing what the signal quality of the Brax DSP is, we needed to invest into a new audio precision unit, which was just available in the highest line to be able to measure the quality. So our typical audio precision units have a measurement range up to 106 dB THD, and with the Brax DSP, we achieved a signal quality of 109 dB. So our unit which we had built was just better than the measurement equipment. So we bought an APX 555, which is just the highest line from audio precision, just to measure the Brax DSP.
Cost me my warm soup on Christmas.
Yeah, no kidding. The final thing here in my notes that I wanted to ask you about is something called DISAC. Can you tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, so during the development of the Brax DSP, we had this discussion if we that we want to give the customer a possibility to create a full digital signal lineup. So having a digital audio player, maybe a high resolution player, and getting a digital signal from this player through the DSP to the amplifier without having one AD or DA conversion. So we were looking for a concept to do this, and in the past there were similar concepts, but they were always relying on extra communication wires and a rather complex setup where you send the digital signal to the amplifier in full scale, so without any bit reduction, so without volume information, and having a separate wire going to the amplifier, which only delivers volume information. And in the amplifier, we are doing the DA conversion on full scale, so we have a very big analog signal, which is not volume controlled. And after this, we are using a programmable analog amplifier, which uses the analog volume information from the second wire to control the analog volume without losing any information. But in this concept, the disadvantage is always that you need extra wires. You have an high switching data stream on some wires, putting it directly through the car, which can be EMC critical. So we developed a completely new technology where we were still using the original SPDIF protocol, which is the typical protocol for optical or digital signal transfers outside of the device. But we have extended the SPDIF protocol by adding in a small data part, which is not used for audio signals, where we implement volume information. So by just using a typical optical or digital coaxial cable, we were able to deliver the full-scale audio information to the amplifier, and on a small data frame also the volume information on a separate channel, which means we have full-scale digital audio going into the amplifier without of any loss of quality. And in the amplifier, it gets converted into the analog domain, and then the volume is controlled in the analog domain to not lose any kind of detail.
Julian, is this technology only in the Brax DSP?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is extremely complicated technology.
I was just thinking, because I've never heard of that with any other optical transmission of any kind. You've managed to piggyback a volume signal into the same physical cable, but not have any compression or any loss of resolution through that signal, is what I understand.
Exactly. So in this case, when you use our DSEC signal and you go into a device which is not DSEC compatible, you will just get maximum volume output because there's
no volume information. Because it's not being able to decode the volume information, basically.
Exactly. And even in the whole DSP signal flow, when the signal runs through our DSP chipset, we have created this special signal path where we are always keeping the internal volume as high as possible to really make sure that the enthusiasts who play their high-resolution audio files in combination with our Brax DSP and Brax amplifier do not lose any single detail.
I have nothing left to ask. That's it right there. I saved that one for the end. That was it. Larry, Chris, I'll let you chime in here. We can close it out, but I mean, I think we've done the whole tour. I think we've got the entire picture story, of how it came to be and where we are today with Brax. Larry, anything else you'd like to, speak to?
I just hope that, as I say, we've been at the factory, we've been with the company for 5 years now, and hearing this and seeing the passion within these two guys, I just see it in their face, and it just drives me crazy that I just want to get out on the road and spread the gospel, and we've been doing that, and I hope that the dealers and end users watching this understand what it means to us to be part of the Brax family and the Audiotech Fischer family when we have people like this that are at the top of the food chain. And it makes it really, really easy to understand the brand and understand our culture because of the shared culture. So that's the biggest message that I want everybody to take out of this. The product is top notch, but understand how the business part of this is done is at the same level.
Amazing.
And Chris, I don't know if you want to add anything into that.
I mean, this is sitting down and talking with these guys today. We could be here literally all day long if we wanted to be. There's so much going on in these products, and little things, little stories to take out of it that they haven't even started to tell us yet. I mean, one of my favorites when they're talking about building Brax amplification is it mentioned that they go through and test every component. Well, they're looking at tolerances, and not until do they have a matched set of components will they start to build an amplifier. That's the kind of attention to detail that goes in these products. And it doesn't matter if it's the DSP, the amplifier, the speakers, the woofers. That's the mentality that this brand carries. And then when you put the little things, the touchy-feely side, you know, that pride of ownership, put the boxes, put the stuff that makes it special to have and to hold, and then the performance that they've got along with it. I mean, when you have to spend, tens of thousands of dollars upgrading premium test equipment because it's not even close to keeping up to the products that you're building. This is the level these guys are playing at. And when you carry that mentality and that standard through an entire lineup and you start to put all these pieces of the puzzle together, the stuff that's accomplished with the clients that are able to put complete Brax packages together, there is very little on earth that can, like Heinz said, put the soul together and keep everything. You know, this is the kind of stuff that makes music make your heart beat in the car. So, Larry said it best. There's nothing like being a part of a company like this and being able to spend time and learn from and experience everything that they're talking about. Because in all my years in the industry, I have not experienced anything like what these guys do.
Amazing. Julian and Heinz, I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, our viewers, CMA Networks, for taking the time and spending it with us today so we can learn your story. Heinz, I'm going to leave you. What final message do you have for anybody tuning in that is curious or would like to try to listen to a Brax product?
The last message, first of all, I want to thank you that you invite me today. And I want to thank you, the MSC company, and for the power they gave us, and to understand the philosophy behind not only Brax, behind the company, it's Brax, Helix, and Match. And we are working today with more than 65 countries in the world together. And we are really proud to have guys like Chris, Larry, and the whole team of the MSC, and the same also in different countries. And this is what we will do. We will follow our philosophy to bring the best products in future with a lot of new technology we'll see next year. Also with a new speaker line, yes, with a very speaker line, with some patents also. And we will start
Don't give too much
March.
away.
Be quiet, Larry. He's going on a roll here.
We will start in spring next year. But to bring everything, and also we are growing this company. Today, a new engineer starts at the moment, this morning, and we will bring some more engineers now in December. We are growing. We have bought the neighbor company 3 months ago.
Okay.
We will write them down and build up a new building together with this building. And that means our philosophy is not only to bring the new products, to prepare for good growing in the next years, to bring a lot of best products to the market.
Amazing. On that note, we're going to say goodbye to Julian and Heinz. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We really look forward to hopefully circling back with you and have an opportunity to talk to you guys again when this new product that you just mentioned might be coming to fruition in the new year. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's go ahead and close it out with Larry and Chris. I know that we would want to talk about what's coming up for MSC, as well as the type of support. I mean, I think we've talked about it. Everybody knows, but hey, it doesn't hurt to remind. the type of support and the training events that we've seen MSC do. I'll give you an opportunity to speak to that real quick, Larry.
I'm gonna defer that question to Chris, and then I just have a final sentence at the end.
Well, as Julian and Heinz had mentioned, these are not necessarily simple products. The learning curve can be quite steep, especially in the DSP category. There's a lot that goes into understanding what needs to be done and then the steps to get there. So that's one of our biggest responsibilities, is making sure that everybody has a very strong understanding. These are what we consider products designed for professionals, people who are dedicated to this. So something we don't believe that can be taught in an hour at a basic seminar or something like that. That's why we do dedicated programs, small groups of people, usually in the 8 to 12 dealers, hands-on, one-on-one. We've got our training facility here that we're sitting in right now in Calgary. We've also got a dedicated center in Phoenix, Arizona. So allows us to get guys in-house, get them hands-on, get them listening, get them clicking, get them learning, talking about the acoustic aspects of it, talking about the applications, and really trying to wrap your full head around what these products are capable of and how to best implement them to give the experience, that soul and the heartbeat that the factory is trying to deliver, making sure that we along the way are doing our part so that when an end-use consumer decides that an Audiotech Fischer product is right for his project, he needs to be able to get everything out of that possible. And that's why these types of training seminars, I think over the last couple of years, we were somewhere in around that range of 150 to 175 dealers across North America that have been through a multi-day program specifically around this stuff. So it's something we believe very heavily in, that it's hugely important to be a part of. Our dealers have chosen to believe the same thing and embrace that. And we're still just getting going here. So watch out for the future.
Amazing. Talking about the future, Larry, I'm going to circle back to something you dropped. You said that Brax DSP is going into a new demo vehicle that you may be unveiling in an upcoming event. Are you going to tell us a little bit more?
March in Phoenix at the MasterTech Expo show is kind of our home-based show for the US side. And we have a lot of cool stuff that we're going to unveil there, including that new product that Heinz was talking about. We are putting a lot of effort into the show, and there's a lot of things to talk about. So please, if you're not registered, get registered for that. Come and see us. You'll be getting some information from us very shortly on the things that we're going to be doing there. But thank you for an awesome 2022, and stick with us in 2023. We got a lot of cool stuff planned.
Don't forget, we also have another final MSC show. You're going to check our CMA Network schedule. We're going to do a year-end wrap-up of all things MSC. Now, on that note, we've talked a lot of gear. Here's the information. If you want more information on Brax products, you want to visit their international website, it's audiotech-fischer.de. Match, Helix, Brax, it's all there. Go check that out. And now, if you happen to be in North America, whether you're in Canada or in the US, get a hold of the team at MSC, msc-america.com. They will direct you to basically the representative that is responsible for your area and get you all set up with those training sessions, etc., that Chris was speaking to. Gentlemen, thank you so much for setting this up and for getting Team Germany in on this one. I think this makes this particular Connected quite special, and I think everybody's going to enjoy it. So on that note, we look forward to the next one.
Thanks for your time, Ben.
Take care. Amazing session with MSC as well as Julian and Heinz from Audiotech Fischer. And if you're into geeking out on this audiophile stuff, you want to keep it locked right here on CMA Networks, because we here is talking about audiophile all month long. Literally every brand you can think of is presenting each and every day. Tune in at 12 p.m. for audiophile sessions on CMA Networks. Now, Larry mentioned the MasterTech Expo. We have 2 outstanding opportunities for you to win a free all-inclusive trip to MasterTech Expo in 2023. All you got to do is head over to cmanetworks.com/giveaway, sign up, and we are drawing a winner from Canada and a winner from the United States for an all-inclusive trip to MasterTech Expo. While you're on the website, of course, check out all the great videos from MSC. Look at the brands, whether you're searching Audiotech Fischer, Match, or Brax, or anything else. DSP maybe you're interested in. Go to cmanetworks.com. It's where the 12-volt industry connects. Thank you so much for hanging with us for this very special edition of CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah. This time around,
Stop
we know
it.
today when we go
Yo.
topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?